Hi, I'm Saloni Mathur, a student of broadcasting media from Leeds Beckett. The journey to preparing for this module has been a learning curve for me. I have practiced and honed my skills to a whole new level because of this course. I went beyond my comfort zone to explore the different aspects of each story that I wanted to cover. I challenged my technical prowess with the audio and video recording equipment to capture the most compelling shots and make my work stand out. For the assignments, I chose to do a live broadcast, a TV package, and a podcast. I was given an opportunity to cover the Weekend Conference, which is a Leeds Beckett project to empower women in their careers and was held at the Met Hotel in Leeds. I decided to do my live broadcast from this event. We were given a list of speakers we needed to interview a week prior. Our module taught us the importance of research and preparation for interviews. We were told that we should always learn about the person we were about to interview and the topic we ought to interview them on. So even if under a circumstance where we are faced with an impromptu interview, we would have enough knowledge about the topic or the event to take control of it. So, I prepared at least 5 questions for every speaker at that conference and read about the Weekend project on the internet thoroughly. On the day of the event, I interviewed a very inspiring lady, Zandra Moore, the CEO of Pan Intelligence, live. Earlier in her speech, she spoke about the importance of networking and stepping out of the comfort zone to reach success. I listened to it closely and prepared a few questions around it. While we were setting up for the live, I carried out a 5-minute pre-interview with Zandra and familiarized myself with her more. I also made sure to ask how to pronounce her name and her company's name, though I still ended up fumbling on the latter. I found it difficult to hold myself back from asking the slew of questions I had in my head and stick to the more relevant ones because we had time constraints. Overall, it was a great interview, and I was very proud of the fact that I was well prepared for it. However, my TV package proved a little bit more challenging than I anticipated. I was trying to decide on my topic around the first week of March when I realized that Holi, a traditional Hindu festival, was coming up in a few weeks' time, and decided to shoot that. Since I am from India, I wanted to showcase something that would represent my culture and my background, and Holi was the perfect event for this. But this was going to be my first ever TV reporting, and suffice to say, I was nervous. To prepare for this, I looked through YouTube and took inspiration from live broadcasts of channels like BBC News, Sky News, and CNN. I observed how the reporters would convey the news and what elements would play on the screen during the package, like B-rolls, overlays, name tags, backgrounds, etc. I started preparing for the package, wrote my pieces to camera, and created a rough storyboard of the visuals and flow of the broadcast. My angle to the story was the celebration of the festival post 2 years of COVID. While writing for this, I kept in mind to follow the Section 5 of Ofcom Broadcasting Code that says news must be reported with due accuracy and impartiality. I kept the code in mind while editing the package so that it reflected the true emotions of the public and conveyed their thoughts on celebrating Holi after the pandemic accurately. A couple of days before the event, I had contacted the organizers and taken their permission for the shoot and interview. I had taken a friend of mine to help me with the camera and made sure he adhered to the rule of thirds and kept adequate headroom and lighting while shooting my pieces to camera and interviews. The event was a mixed bag of Indians and British, and this splash of cross-cultural celebration created some stunning visuals for the story. However, I did face one challenge though. There were a lot of kids under the age of 18 present at the event. Following Section 1 of the Broadcasting Code, which states that people under 18 should be protected, Ofcom 2019, I did not interview kids playing at the event or film them without their guardian present. Hence, one of my shots does have children in the frame, but I took it after taking due permission from the father, whom I was actually interviewing at the moment. During post-production, I faced numerous jump cuts and other audiovisual challenges. While editing, I overlaid the B-rolls over my jump cuts to make the video look smoother. I had also given a lengthy outro to the broadcast, and I needed to remedy that somehow. So I separated the audio from the outro, edited it to say, "This is Saloni Mathur from Beckett now," and played it under a beautiful shot that I had directed where people were sitting in a group and on cue threw colors in the wind and shouted "Happy Holi." It was a perfect ending to the vibrant and colorful TV package. For the podcast, I chose to highlight my sister, Sujata Mathur's story, who was stuck at Taj Hotel during the 26/11 terrorist attacks in Mumbai. It was an important event that changed how India, even the world, prepared and responded to terrorist threats. This was an important story to tell, and I wanted to tell it. So I chose to do a storytelling format which followed the events of that fateful night in a chronological order. I knitted pieces of my sister's interview with my narration, where she recalls the night's events from her point of view and talks about her experiences.
Somebody was shot. Somebody was lying there and this was shot. So I could see that. That's where it struck me. That shake. You could hear the gunshots. Those and the bombs is what you could feel.
I made use of ambient sounds, downloaded royalty-free, to highlight the story and make the listener feel that they are witnessing it in real time. I made use of news clippings from that day from several other channels which were available for common use and helped me express the gravity of this attack to the viewer. I started the podcast with a brand introduction, followed up with a quote from the interview, and then went back to my narration to introduce the topic formally. During my research, I listened to HBO's Chernobyl podcast and noticed their format and use of sounds to create a theater of mind with their story. I tried to replicate that in my own podcast. I tried to execute every skill I learned to its best for the entire portfolio. I kept in mind the nuances of interviews, TV reporting, and podcasts, and applied them all to my projects. I made sure to keep in mind the Ofcom codes and follow them while shooting and editing my work. As a future journalist, I really want to push inclusive journalism and try and tell stories that represent different people.